think I figured it out. I didn't sound like it said. Doesn't sound real. How do I turn this thing on?
Yeah, do you
Figured
get
it out.
tired of saying it? Did you get
I have been, but only because of the kids, the children. Because I don't like um most of the views that I get on stuff is going to be video games, and it's going to be. I think people like to watch my confused old ass play video games. You know.
They're like, look at this old,
Oh,
old
dude,
timer
even
trying to play
Dave.
games.
Okay, so Dave is older than me, right? So like
Right.
he watched me play that game that you said yesterday. It looks like a Moe game, the tile
Yeah,
craft.
because it's so cute. If it's
Yeah, it's
cutesy,
cute.
Mo's into it.
Yeah, so I'm playing that cutesy game, right?
Yeah.
And Dave says, I watched you play it. And I go, yeah, man, that was fucking. I told him I was stressed out. And he goes, yeah, I kept yelling at the screen too. Those dudes are going to respawn. I kept on yelling, but you wouldn't listen. I'm like, damn, even
He
Dave
never
knows.
listens.
Dave knows video games way more than I do. Like, he
Yeah.
knew the guys were going to respawn. And I'd even take that in consideration. Like, dudes are
Oh,
going to respawn. Like, I'm fucking old school.
maybe you'll learn one day. But haven't you been playing video games like forever?
I have, but maybe I've been
So
playing
don't
the
you know
same
how they
old
work?
ass video games. Like one of my favorite video games is a fucking DOS game. So I had to keep finding ways to
What
run
is it?
DOS to play
What is it?
Lord of the Realms. You've
Okay.
seen it once, and you're like, God damn, it looks boring. Because it is.
You're a little bit blurry. It's a little bit of
Uh-oh.
blur going on. Uh
I'll
oh.
have to get
Uh oh.
closer.
Oh no, come closer.
Maybe that'll work.
Yeah, so
Maybe.
Mo has this thing that like I always
Uh-oh.
tease him about that his video game taste and his board game taste is completely the opposite.
Of
Completely
what?
the opposite. Like
Of what?
if you got some cutesy looking game about like look how cute these pumpkins are and this little dog that helps you and look you're making a little farm with just these little few little top you'd be like this is
I'm in it.
bullshit. I don't want anything to do with this.
Hmm.
I'm above this. And then when it comes to video games, you're like, you want all of that. These cutesy little light
Can you
filler
imagine?
games.
Can you imagine a little board game where you're farming little poop emojis? I'm down.
I can imagine you doing that. Yeah,
Yeah, farming
100%.
poop emojis all day long. No, see, I
Yeah.
thought you were saying that if it's a cutesy game, I'm into it, and I like any type. And I don't hold it against a game that it's cutesy. It's just that in the middle shit, and it's also the badass artwork shit. If you've got really good artwork, I'm pretty suspicious of your game, your board game.
Yeah. Okay.
What was the one that has all like the cardboard cutouts and all kinds of
Gloomhaven.
crazy shit? Well, no.
No?
But it's a worker
Cardboard
placement
cutouts.
that deals with time, I think.
Worker
Fuck.
placement deals with time.
Yeah,
Hmm.
okay, forget
Oh,
that it's a worker
pendulum or
placement.
something. All
It's
right,
a
well, whatever.
it's a Euro game that doesn't look like a
Oh,
Euro.
anachrony.
There you go. That's the one.
Because it has mechs. And you were like, oh, it has mechs. You're still a bit blurry. I think your camera needs to just do
I
that
can't.
hand thing.
It's no. It doesn't have autofocus. It's a Canon.
Oh,
So if I turn on autofocus, it puts an autofocus box. So you're just gonna have to deal with the blurry mo,
okay.
unfortunately.
Blurry
Or
mode is.
I can fuck with the. Hey, why not? So you can talk, and I can screw with the with it if you want me to. Or I could
Yeah,
just.
okay.
All right. So let
Sure.
me just fuck with it.
So the thing so I messaged you the other day and I was like, I wonder, I wonder if people will be, will see this, like see our little live talk thingy and just be like, what are these people talking about? Because we talk about like such small things. Like we kind of, you know what I mean? Like we go into like societal things that are like really small and like,
Hmm.
I imagine there'll be quite a few people out there that will watch this and go, or if they watched this, no, they're not watching it, but if
They're
they
not
did,
watching it. They don't care.
yeah, they don't care. But if they did watch it, they'll be like, why do they even think about these things?
Hmm.
Do you think it's like that? I often think that I kind of feel like we're in the same sort of realm as like comedians. Comedians talk about, except they're funnier, but comedians talk about these really tiny little things about people that they notice, right? They're so
Right.
analytical.
Like they're being very observant of
Yeah.
their surroundings. I don't know because like the other podcasts that I listen to that that I don't listen to anymore that deal with games and stuff are so boring to me.
Mm.
Like they'll start with, what did you do all the week? I went to go see this one Marvel movie. I'm watching whatever fucking Marvel TV show,
Yeah.
and then I'm playing Marvel Snap, and then here's a couple board games I want to purchase, and then they tell you who the designer of the board game is, and then they'll tell you they'll try to kind of explain it, and that's like the worst to me. Don't explain a board game to me on a podcast because, well, maybe other people can visualize it. I can't. To me, you're just fucking talking crap. You're talking gibberish. I'm gonna envision the game. I'm gonna go play the game. It's gonna be nothing like I envisioned. Done. There's me bitching about it. Being like, I don't know.
No, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, that's why we're doing this. Obviously, I agree with you. And obviously, we're not into that.
Well, obviously,
but I'm just saying most people, I think most people probably do like that stuff. That's like the mainstream stuff, isn't it?
I would assume people like it, but there's plenty of it. I mean, if you're out there looking for more of the same, well, obviously this isn't it. Don't go on. I would try not to put too many notes that say, "Hey, we're playing this," or "Hey, we're talking about this one board game," because I don't want to give you the false impression that we're doing this deep dive, into this game, because we're not. It's surface level to talk about like bigger subjects or smaller subjects. I don't know, but not necessarily how this game plays, because plenty of people do that. And personally, I have to be really, really addicted to a game to talk about it like that. And if I do, it's going to be strategy level.
Yeah.
And I would be okay with talking about that, but right now I'm not strategy level about any board game, except for maybe the games we're working on, and that's about it.
Yeah. What, because you haven't played stuff in too long? Or
I haven't played it, and I haven't played it enough.
Yeah.
It
hasn't been recent enough. It's hard to talk about that stuff for me. Like, I don't have the memory for that.
And your memory's better than mine.
Really? Is it?
So much better.
It has to be fresh. It has to be fresher.
Yeah. I can remember what the strategy sort of was and tell you that, but it's not going to be accurate because I won't remember in the moment.
Yeah. I do think it's funny, though, that you thought the same thing as me. Like, are we talking high level or low level? I can't tell. Are we talking about little tiny things? Or are we talking about the big things?
A little bit
I
of
don't
both,
really
maybe.
know. I don't know. I kind of think, like, I sometimes wonder about, my tastes in everything is always like a little bit left of center and a little bit out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder why that is, and why other people are like happy to just watch Marvel movies and just watch, like, I don't mind Marvel movies. I'm not picking on Marvel movies. Or just watch Love Island, and like, is it like a deeper searching for something else in life, like something better? Is it that?
I don't know. What do you think? Or are you just asking a question? Is it rhetorical?
It could be.
Or is
it's sort of rhetorical, but I wonder whether it's like a this is going to make me sound like I'm not satisfied with life. I think life's pretty cool, but I guess there's like a searching that I do throughout my life, like what else, what is this, I don't know, what is out there, kind of thing. And I feel like my tastes with everything are in line with that. Always searching for something that's gonna blow my mind or do something crazy and different.
Yeah, you see, you take that in a completely different direction than I do, because like for me the direction is, what do I identify with? Because I remember talking to Lyndon, and Lyndon's like, whenever he was talking about games and stuff, he said he liked listening to podcasts because he wanted to continue to interact with the thing that he likes throughout the day. Like he likes board games, so he wants to hear about them. He wants to talk about them. Obviously, he's not talking with them, but he's probably talking at the podcast or whatever. So people identify with certain things, and like I used to, more than now, identify mostly with metal music. And in fact, I probably feel more at home around metal people than I do board game people, to a point. Although I would probably, I am a self-hating geek, so I would probably try to like hide some of my geekiness, but it's there. It's definitely
really there. Like if you were talking to metal people.
No. If I'm talking to other geeks, I try not to engage with the geeks like I'm a geek.
It would be even worse if you were talking to metal people, right?
Oh,
surely.
no. If I'm talking to metal people, they're going to talk about metal stuff, and we're just going to talk about metal stuff. I don't think it'll get into geeky worlds. But if it does, I'm able to talk about it, I
Well, it's
guess.
just a different geek track. You're just geeking
Yeah.
out over metal
Yeah.
instead.
Yeah. And okay, so here's the boring part about the metal. Okay, so I don't know
Yeah.
if I've gone over the origins of the board game group with you, but early on, I was in groups that were metal groups, and the metal groups were just like imagine just a bunch of people geeking out over like new songs and old songs, and like they would just post videos, and you would just like you could go and watch somebody's taste or whatever. And if a new band came out, they would post their video on there, or someone would post their shit for them, right?
Mm.
And so that immediate interaction is what I really liked. I hated that it was just fucking videos. It's like
Yeah.
very little conversation. You'd have a little bit, but mostly it's like, hey, check it out. So and so put out a new album, or do you remember this one, or shit like that, right? So when I
Mm.
made the board game group, it was
You wanted to
because
do what Lyndon did and continue the conversation.
right, right, but I needed it
Right.
immediate. I did it first on Board Game Geek to do the forum style, and it wasn't immediate enough. I wanted to talk about dominant species right then. And it was
Yeah.
like I had to wait days for a response, And I was
Yeah.
like, fuck this. There's got to be a faster way. And I was like, I just use what
You need
I
more friends.
yeah, I'll just do what I did in the metal group, but I'll make one for dominant species. So we'll just talk about dominant species all the fucking time. And that's how it started.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But anyway, so it is me. It is it's a search for myself, not, and I don't like you don't put like a board game product in front of me and then I find myself in that. I just kind of am just strolling around finding things that are closer to my heart, I guess. Maybe it's that search for myself, and
Okay.
I identify more as a metal person, although I don't consider myself a metal board gamer. Like the games that look all metal that are board games,
They're usually bad.
Yeah, they're usually, I'm not really into that. I'm not like
Except there's that Cave
Longstreet.
Evil one that you said that you play once a year or something that we didn't play. We were gonna
Yeah,
play
there's
it.
all. That's because of Longstreet. Longstreet likes that shit. It's way too Ameritrash
okay.
for me, but I'll
Right.
humor them and shit and play.
We
it.
played that other one, Cryptic Explorers
Yeah,
or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was interesting.
That was okay.
Yeah,
Wasn't
I
too
mean
bad.
it's an experience,
Yeah.
but
You didn't find yourself in that though.
no, I have never found myself in a metal board game. They're like boring as fuck. I hate Ameritrash. It gets so boring to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. So I was watching the Two Bears One Cave interview with Quentin Tarantino.
Oh,
And
I
like
missed
he
that
was
one.
Oh, it's good. It's actually really good. And Tarantino just like rips Tom a new one because he's like talking about he has him on and he's just like written a book. Quentin Tarantino's written his book.
Yeah,
And
he hadn't
Tom's
asked him
like,
about it. I heard about that.
yeah, he like said that he was listening to it on Audible or something, and then it gets to the end and he's like, so how far into the thing did you get? And he's like, oh, you're up to this part, and he's like, I think that's the first 3 pages or something, and he's just like ripping him a new one, and then. But Tom's like, I ask good questions, whatever, and he did. It was a really good interview. Anyway, but it made me think about because he was sort of saying like now he doesn't have anything against Marvel movies or anything like that, but he kind of thinks that we're in like a bit of a downturn movie wise, and I was thinking how much that must affect like there being good movies because everyone just wants to see like the majority of people just want to see Marvel. And that's like all the studios tied up, like all the budgets tied up, all the actors are tied up, like everything's just tied up in Marvel. What does that mean? Like, no, we can't get any other good movies. We've got nothing. It's like totally saturated the market.
That goes for me. That goes in that argument that I always have that you're not looking deep enough argument because some of the best movies were made on limitation. So, like if you think of El Mariachi that was made by Tarantino's buddy, what's his name, Garcia or something like that. I forgot his name. He's the guy. He's like his friend. They both did the Grindhouse stuff. Anyway, maybe I should look it up here in a second.
Not the From Dusk Till Dawn guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Oh,
Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So his El Mariachi was done on a very low budget, and that put him in the game. And if you look at like Clerks, low budget, If you look at Reservoir Dogs, low budget, good movies don't have to be done at big studios. They just need, and in fact, the low budget might help them become more creative. It's the big budget stuff that we're just going to have to say, well, we just have to dig for deep cuts as far as movies go.
I don't think so. I mean, Tarantino had big budget and big studios behind him, though. They
Yeah,
just
yeah.
they
But
didn't
he's
need a big budget, but they got it,
yeah, but he's
and
an
that's why they
exception.
look as good as they
Well,
do.
yeah, but when you not Reservoir Dogs, not his original, you know.
It's a lot harder for a small budget movie to get any traction, like marketing wise. They don't have if they don't have the big studio behind them and stuff like
I
that.
don't.
It's a lot harder for them. I'm not
A
saying it
good
can't
movie's a good
happen.
movie, though. I would say like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, another small independent thing that was made. If you do something good and you use your limitations, I think you'll still get made. And it's just the big budget stuff. It's like if you like pop music, you're going to say now that music is the worst it's ever been because pop music used to be better or whatever. And it's just because you don't dig deep enough. Those things are probably being made more of. They're just underground. Kind of like, let's say if you
Maybe,
really like,
but we don't want it to be hard to find. It's hard to find then.
well,
I
that
don't want it to be hard to find.
that's the
Where
shitty
is
part.
it?
That's the shitty part. You
So
do
you're
have to
saying,
search
so
for it.
basically you're saying that it's laziness, that people are lazy. That's what you're saying. They're too
I'm
lazy to
saying,
find good stuff.
in one way, yeah. I'm saying that if you expect, okay, so markets always fluctuate. What you might like or liked is no longer popular or it's gone underground. Now it's easier to make everything as far as creative. It's
But
easier to
what
make
about the
movies and it's easier to do all that independently.
maybe? But I'm sure that there are a lot of projects that are not happening for whatever reason, and
Okay,
it's
so I've got let me put it this way. I've got
you're not
Anachrony
thinking of
2
this, right?
or Anachrony 3. I've got Anachrony 3, right? If I want to make it at the same level as Anachrony 1, yes, it's going to be difficult to make. But if I want to do it independent and find people to do it with, I can. And I can find, I mean, it's not going to have a big budget and it's not going to have other people a lot of people aren't going to know it, but there's going to be a few people that are willing to look for it and it'll be out there. Like,
Yeah, but it might be shit. It might have B grade actors when it deserves A grade actors. You know what I'm saying? Like it might be that too much compromise and it doesn't turn out the way it should.
maybe.
It's the opportunity that's lacking, right? The opportunities are lacking there because all these actors are tied up for the next 10 years in doing their fucking Marvel stuff instead of
Right. But if you go back to Lock, Stock, and Smoking Barrels, or Two Smoking Barrels, or if you go back to Clerks, if you go back to
none of
some
those
of
were
the,
like the first movies that they did. They already had a following. Like
yeah, but they didn't have a huge following and they didn't have big actors yet. They had smaller actors. It was their eye that helped make that movie or those movies by looking at what you have available, find the right people, do what you can with the limitations. That also shows an artistic ability. I'm not saying we're not going to lose a few things, but I'm also saying that there are things out there if you're willing to look.
yeah, I'm not saying there's nothing out there. What I'm
I
saying
think
is
that's what
that
you said.
it's
That's exactly what you
that's
said.
not what I said. I just said that it's hogging the fucking
Yeah, it's
everything. It's
hogging the
hogging
big
it.
budget stuff.
Right.
But I don't want big budget stuff. I don't want the big movies that Marvel the studios like Marvel making stuff in their studios doesn't bother me one bit if they take up
Yeah.
all the Transformer room,
It's not taking all the budget. It's taking everything, right? It's everything. Every aspect of it. All the people's like everyone's attention, everyone's taste is now on just action stuff and that's the way
okay, if somebody's
that
into
it's going.
fine film and they're not going to all of a sudden say, fuck fine film, let's just get into Marvel movies. That's not going to happen. The same people who nominate what's going to be in the Oscars, they're not nominating fucking Marvel movies.
No, but these have been going for 20 years, so they're influencing the people that are getting into movies. They're influencing young people as well. So no one's going to get into art movies because they don't even know what those are because they're growing up on Marvel movies.
I don't know about that, because if you have a wider pool of people that are getting into it, because it's much easier, it's much more accessible, and there's much more of these big budget movies. You still have those that like independent stuff that are not going to be, they're not going to be swayed by the money. And if it's a person that's swayed by the money, or if a young person who's swayed by the explosions and stuff, they weren't going to make the next fucking Oscar nominated film anyway. Maybe, I don't
Hey,
know.
Jace.
Oh, what's up? We're fighting about movies.
We're fighting about movies. We don't agree. I mean, like when I was growing up, there was a few really good like Australian movies. And so I grew up with this impression that, oh, we make good movies. It's cool. And
You're in a
now
fantasy land.
it's like a fantasy land because we haven't made anything really that's done anything great for, for a long time now. And so people growing up, that people who are, 18 now are like, oh, Australian films shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally different. So that's what it would be about for them now. It would be all about superhero movies. That's it. That's the only thing
Right.
that they're really gonna care about that's making any kind of waves in cinema right now.
Right, but my counter argument would be it's easier to make a film now than it's ever been, as far as buying the equipment.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to make a fucking grade A fucking Hollywood movie, but your low budget movies have come up. The bar has come up quite a bit. So you can make your low budget YouTube movies all day long. Have you seen some of those crazy Indian movies that have like all the crazy effects and shit? Those are taking action movies to a whole nother level. Like, there was this one film where they had this dude, and he was like, he was made of other dudes, and he was taking dudes off of himself and beating up people with other dudes. It was like, it was
I want to
so
see
impressive.
this.
Yeah.
I want to see
If you
this.
look, also there's African films. I forgot what part of Africa, because Africa is huge, but there's a specific style of African film where they do action movies that are just fucking awesome. Like, the blood it's all digital. It looks like shit, but it's amazing. Like, what they're trying to do is just, it's pushing cinema, I think.
Really?
And
Okay.
it's
Well, it's
really
interesting.
bad.
It's interesting that you're taking this stance because, like, when it comes to board games, you're like not about the stance at all. You're about the like, why is every mofo trying to make a game go to Kickstarter, and it's just there's all
No,
this shitty stuff out there.
the only reason I'm anti Kickstarter a little bit is because I think your game needs to be vetted. That's it. Like, if there was an independent body that
What if
said,
I was
okay,
making a film? What if I was making a movie and I wanted to go to Kickstarter? What would you do then? Is that acceptable for you?
yeah, it's acceptable, because I think vetting a movie is a lot easier than vetting a game. I think vetting a game, there's a lot. It depends on who you're marketing into. It is a lot of things, I guess, to bring up. There's a lot of things.
Yeah.
I don't want to paint myself into a corner here, but I would say that
He's getting scared.
visually, it's easy to see your mistakes over something that is a mental thing. So let's say in your movie, you're trying to bring across a certain subject and you're trying to do it symbolically. That might not transfer in your movie, but the visual stuff.
Which is why why films usually do have people come and have like a focus group or whatever they call it, right?
Yeah. And it sucks that in a Kickstarter thing, you're probably not going to have the budget for that or whatever. And that would be the vetted part. And I guess since I find board games close to home, I want them vetted as far as I want them to work.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to be in a very narrow mindset. I think it's the same thing with movies. It's very easy to be in a narrow mindset of how this needs to look and be.
Yeah.
Jace was talking. So
Jace is saying, he said that some of the Bollywood action films are insane. Triple R was nuts.
That's what I'm talking about. And those, I wish I remembered what part of Africa those other films are from. They're fucking cool. They're on YouTube. They're fucking cool.
They still bring back the golden age of Oz cinema. Yes. Strictly Ballroom. It was amazing.
Okay, so do you have I've got something.
You got something?
I've got something that's board game related.
Okay.
Okay, so we were talking about board game advertising and ROI, return on investment. And I can say firsthand experience because I sell this shit, right? I sell it on the board game group. So some guy will come and ask, and I've talked to you about this before. They'll come and ask, "Hey, what's the ROI on your banner?" You know, and if I was a bad guy, if I had another group that maybe I just wanted money, I could give you. I could
Yeah.
give you numbers. I could name specific groups, but I could give you numbers and say,
I was about to say.
I could give you numbers and say, okay, so here are the ROI on a banner, right?
Right.
And I would give you the numbers to successful Kickstarters. I wouldn't give you the ones that failed because there is no magic sauce. There is no magic anything. I can't make a board game and guarantee if I put $200 in advertising, it's going to convert to 14 clicks or whatever. There's no way to fucking do it.
Yeah.
A board game advertising is like basically it's a billboard on the side of the road, and when you pass it, you'll remember that, hey, they serve hot dogs, or hey, whatever, you know, that it's a reminder.
Gets it out there. Gets the name out there.
Another way to trick people is to make a giveaway with it. I'll make a giveaway, and then you'll do an ROI on the giveaways. Every click, you know, you think you have engagement or whatever, but that doesn't transfer to sales. If you're going to buy a board game, it has nothing to do with the advertising except for, hey, I forgot that it was on Kickstarter, or hey, I didn't know it was available, and I really like the theme, or I like the art, I like the designer, I like the combination of what this looks like, I like the Kickstarter page, I trust the company, whatever, any number of reasons, but the one reason it's not going to be is because your banner looked cool. That's not going to sell the game. It might get you to click through, but even that I think is deceptive return on investment. Okay, so that's the first part of the conversation. The second part of the conversation is I have a banner and I'm trying to maximize my dollars by selling this banner to you and you're a publisher, right? One of the things I can do is raise the price of my banner so that only companies can afford it. It's a way to be biased without being biased. I'm basically saying to independent people, no, don't apply because it costs too much.
Yeah.
This ensures that I'm more likely to get companies who have already had a good track record to buy the banner. So I raised the ceiling. So now my numbers look better too. Now when you see my banners, you think, this guy had a bunch of successful Kickstarters on his thing. And all I did was raise the price. I just made it where the smaller dudes can't compete. Everybody wins. I make more money, and you think you're making more money. And when I say you, the publisher, not necessarily. The publisher has a marketing department, and their marketing department has to justify their existence. One of the ways to justify their existence is to show the ROI numbers. So they come to me, what's your ROI numbers? I give them Gloomhaven, I give them Frosthaven's numbers. They can report back to their boss. They justified spending the budget, and they justify their existence. And all I do is raise the price of the banner, and everybody's happy. And except for the designer. The designer spent a year and a half working on this game. It's his baby. He sells it to the publisher. The publisher gives him $2,000-3,000 up front, and then he offers a certain amount after, X amount is going to be done, right? So imagine this. I spent 20 minutes on this whole banner thing. One, selling it. Two, giving them the specs so that I can post it. 20 to 30 minutes, 1 week, I make a quarter of what the designer made. Maybe a little bit less than a quarter than the designer made for.
Yeah. And the designer, like, for people that don't know, the designer's like hours and hours and hours a day working on the game.
You can watch
for however many years.
Right, trying to crack away at this design, right?
All right.
And okay, so the other question I have, and it's a question anybody should, have you ever bought a game based on the teach? Like you went to a store and said, the teach is so good, or I know there's a good teach for this game, I'm going to buy it. No. Or have you ever gone to buy a game and said, I don't know if I'll ever be able to learn this game, so I better not buy it?
No.
There might be a couple, right? Maybe an 18XX.
Maybe
for
that
me,
one. Maybe. Yeah, I guess I'm a little bit scared of some of the GMT games for that reason.
Okay.
Not having the time to learn. More like not having the time to learn it, right?
Right. So there's more money being spent on, what's the name of that? Rodney, teaching a game, not selling a game, teaching a game that you already own then being sold, then being given to the
Yeah.
designers.
Yeah.
And the designers are playing lotto. Like, we make a design, right? And let's say if we're under the delusion that we can make a job out of this, and let's say we're under the delusion that, and it's not everybody, but for a lot of people, it is a delusion. It's a tough market. Well, let's say if it's your first design and you think that you're going to make it, right?
Oh, this is
You're
a
playing
sad
lotto.
story.
You're playing the lotto.
Yeah.
Is it the right game at the right time? Okay, you can learn to hone those skills and you can make this a job, yes. Being creative, you're going to have to sacrifice some things. You're doing this commercially. But the first time, or if you don't have a clue, you're playing lotto. You don't know, right? And the companies, on the other hand, they're not paying you the most. They're paying Rodney. They're paying the advertisers. They're trying to get the ROI up there. People are trying to justify jobs and shit, and people are knocking on their doors. They've got piles of prototypes to publish and to go through and to see if they're any good. It's a whole sad bit when you really look at it.
Yeah. It is sad. Rodney's getting...
Rodney's
got it sweet. Like, he's getting the best
he's
deal
got it
out
made.
of everybody.
While we're having the golden age of board games or whatever, I was having it made at the board game group, selling advertising. That's I think we're barely seeing the repercussions of COVID, where people are starting to shrink their marketing budgets. We're starting to see, and now I have to lower the ceiling again, and more independent people are going to come to me and say, I want to publish on your group. I'll tell them a cheaper price, and then they'll ask me what the ROI is, and then I have to give them this whole fucking thing I just gave you about how it's a made up number. Don't worry about it. Do you have the right game at the right time? Spend your money on art. Spend your money on design. Spend your money on making communities. There is no rush to get your game to the fucking market. Make sure it's the right game at the right time.
That's hard to do, though, right? Making sure it's the right game at the right time. That timing things are tricky. All right, Jace is saying, I've made purchase decisions based on a teach how to play video or a rule book read. Oh, you have? Okay.
Good.
Well, tell us what games.
Right.
I want to know. I'm curious.
That's kind of interesting. I've never done it.
It must be a big sell, right? Otherwise, Rodney wouldn't be at the top of the food chain if it wasn't a big deal.
Well, I would think that it worked like a chain reaction. If you had a game that was already making money, it was an evergreen, and you wanted a better teach because people complain about it. So you pay Rodney. You've already got a game that makes his money. The designer in this case is already getting paid a lot, and he's making money on each copy, right? Then it makes all the sense in the world. But
I disagree with you. What happens is you release your game with Rodney's video already. It's in the rule book. Then more people, it's easier for people to get into the game. Then the word of mouth spreads and they show everyone else. And it's so easy to learn. All the podcasts are saying it's easy to learn this game. Da-da-da-da-da. There's a Rodney video. And then boom, sold.
This is after the initial ones. The first ones Rodney did when he got into this thing, right? The games were already good games. They were already selling. They were already on the top 100 or whatever. Now, other people see this and think, oh, Rodney's a great teacher. We need to get him on our game before the game has even made it. And they use it to help to make it. It's kind of like it's a good idea to go to Kickstarter now, even if you're trying to make your own company for pre-sales, because it's a great advertising tool. People just go and scour Kickstarter on Monday or Tuesday at work and see what the new games are.
Yeah. Mitch from the barbecue was saying that he does that, but it's getting harder to do it because there's just so many.
Yeah, and it's just a completely saturated market. Saturated.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So is that what you were talking to Joe about? Is this the thing you were going to bring up? Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to Joe about that. There was some other points as far as okay, so this Barnes & Noble sale, right?
Right.
Barnes & Noble sale is this crazy thing that happens once a year. If you're in the U.S., right after Christmas, you go to Barnes & Noble and you buy yourself some cheap games. Sometimes the discount's 50%, sometimes it's more. I mean, Arc Nova was at $10. People buying like
It's not
6
even worth
copies and
that.
shit.
It's not even worth that, everyone.
People buying like 6 copies or whatever. Okay, so
Right.
in the board game group, we had some publishers complain and said that it's bad for business, whatever.
Yeah.
And my
Probably
argument
is.
is that
Oh, okay.
the only reason there is a market for you publishers is because us people who want games are crackheads. We want all these new games. We want all these new games, and it's your market. And
Right.
this is more of the market correcting itself. The market is oversaturated. These games can't sell that much. You're going to get an initial buy and then a slow trickle. It costs a
Yeah.
lot to store the games. So this is the market trying to control it. So I can understand if you're a small publisher and this upsets you. But the whole reason why you're able to get into this market is because it is a fucking seller's market. If we have all these people who want to buy games, it's slowly becoming to a point though where it's so saturated that people are drowning in their own shit. Like
I was about to say, if people were worried about their money and they waited until the sales to buy it, then it might be a different thing. But they're not doing that.
they're not doing that. They're
They're
buying
buying
what they
full
want.
price games as well all the time. They're buying everything.
Right. It's more like if I have a board game group and one of us owns Ark Nova and it's $10, well, I'm going to go buy my copy now too and keep it in the shrink and put it on the thing, or I'm going to try to resell it. Or like one of our admins bought 6 copies and shit. I'm like, good
Really?
Lord, what the
To
fuck
sell
do you need?
later?
Yeah, to sell
them
later or
later?
trade or some shit. And
wow.
I'm like, the value of Ark Nova has gone totally
Way
to
down.
the bottom, way the fuck down. Ark Novas are worth jack shit right now. It happened every year at BGG when you'd go in and everybody'd get their free games because you get like 4 or 5 free games, you know. And those games,
I didn't know that.
yeah,
You get
you
free
get like
games?
4. Yeah, Sons of Anarchy game, it was given out. So like all of us had these Sons of Anarchy games,
Crappy games.
and it totally like fucking the market on the Sons of Anarchy went way the fuck down. It used to be worth like $40. Now you can get them for like $5 a game. They try to throw them in. I've got like 3 copies in shrink somewhere. I can't get rid of them.
That's funny.
Yeah.
There we go. They could have been Christmas presents.
Oh fuck! Next year they'll be rare.
Yeah.
They'll be out of print.
They'll be rare.
My ass.
I don't know about that.
They don't like. I would try to get games that had a lot of cubes in them and trade for games that had a lot of cubes in them so I could dismantle the games and shit.
Yeah. Oh, that's really sad. All that wasted just for some cubes.
They're free games. I mean, what are you gonna do?
You know, I feel bad that we're like, I don't want to make it sound like we, you know, because I'm always talking about Ark Nova and being bad. I don't want to feel like I know everything. I don't know everything.
Well, I can go on record. You don't know anything.
I know. Thanks for that. Yeah. So the other thing, Quentin Tarantino was like, "Oh, I'm not going to talk about anything current because he doesn't want to weigh in. He doesn't want to. He's like. So the first thing I thought of was like he doesn't want to talk shit about other directors and their work, and like it made me think of like us because you know we're not afraid to say like we're doing this podcast is like we're nobody, so it doesn't matter what we say. Maybe it matters what he says. But he was like he also doesn't want to advertise or like give anyone any leg up or anything. I thought that was really funny. I'm like, what a jerk he is.
He's got a lot of sway though, you know.
That's so funny though. Like he could help. He could say some positive stuff about current movies or directors and what they're doing, but he's like, no, I don't do that shit either. I don't want to help anybody. I don't want to. I just find that funny. I'm like, I don't want to be like that. I want to be nice. Okay, Jason said something. I think you can vary on where the buyer is on their board game hobby journey too. New to the hobby, everything may be fresh and cool as opposed to jaded, seen it before veterans.
Which is us.
That's us.
We're jaded.
We're like, seen this
That's
shit.
I want to sponsor a couple of people. I want to find a couple of people and sponsor them through the hobby and start giving them these games that are hard. They might be hard to find now. I don't know. But the games that I will definitely not play. They can have, you know, I liked Seasons, but I'm not going to play it anymore. You've got a copy.
Oh, you make me sad. Play it with
you've
me.
Got it. You've got a copy.
Play.
I'll play your copy.
Got it. All right. Yeah,
so,
get rid of it then.
Castles of Burgundy.
What are you doing with that? You're not going to give that
Waterdeep.
to somebody. What are you going to give that to somebody?
Castles
I thought
of
you were
Burgundy?
saying that you wanted to. I thought you wanted to save them the sadness of going through all the shitty games.
No,
You're gonna
no.
give them the shitty games?
I'm gonna give them the shitty. Well, to me they're not.
No.
To me they're utter shit, but not to them. It's their first round. They don't know, and then they
Right.
can
That's
play
why
it
you have
forward
to.
with somebody else.
No,
So you
it
want
should
me?
be
You're
the
asking
it should
me,
be the next generation doesn't have to make the same mistakes that we do. You know,
you
like
want
that's
me
what
to
I'm
jade
trying to
them.
do.
You're asking me
You
to jade
them, jade them, jade them. They need to be jaded.
I don't
Otherwise,
know
they're just
about
gonna
that.
buy. It's like you know, Harry, my friend Harry, is doing that. He's in that. He's in that stage. He's new. He's just playing everything, and he's like, "How good is Castles of Burgundy?" And I'm like, "It's not. There's way better games. You were playing a better game the other day. Why are you playing that one and loving it? You don't need to play. You don't need to find 1,000 games that you like. Just play this other one that you liked." But
Jade them every
jade
day.
them, jade them good.
Yeah, that's fucked up. I wanted to help them along and give them the games that I don't want anymore that they would love, like fucking games that everybody says you should play. Some of the games are in the top 100. You know, like I would.
It's the fun of it too, right? It's the fun of it. You know, I remember doing that and just being like playing everything and wow, like it's a
just so
whole new
amazing.
world. It's a whole new world.
Yeah,
So it's fun. It's fine. I'm not going to jade them. They can
you're
do
gonna
it.
try to jade them.
No, they can do it. They can have their fun.
So
It's just, you know, usually as the board game elder, you want to teach, you want to, you know,
I
impart
think
your knowledge. Like, oh no, don't play that. Play this instead, kind of
so
thing.
you're basically taking someone like think about the martial arts. You're taking somebody who is just started. They're barely getting like I think it's the brown belt at the bottom, and you're teaching them black belt moves, and they're not ready for that. They're gonna hurt their back trying to. They're gonna hurt their back trying to do some crazy fucking kick and shit. And like, dude, baby kicks. They're fighting toddlers right now.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect analogy for what we're talking about. Absolutely, that's what.
Fighting
That's what I'm
toddlers.
trying to do. I'm trying to injure them.
So
Oh,
you're trying.
God.
That game is shit, and then you like hurt their feelings and stuff. Like, be stronger.
All right, I've got a question for you. Have you ever had a nemesis? Like a real life nemesis?
talking
Like
to her
someone
right
that
now.
just for whatever reason you have one right now? You're
I'm
talking
talking to
them
her
now?
right now.
Uh,
A nemesis, a board game nemesis, or a regular
no,
nemesis?
like in real life, like
I
a
had
real life
nemesis. Nemesis.
Yeah, just someone that like fucking hated you, like for real reasons or because of no reason.
Usually it's
No,
no
seem-
reason and it's mutual.
A mutual nemesis?
Yeah, mutual. Like, well,
Okay,
of course,
tell me.
it goes with like as you're young, people who like you tend to like, and people who don't like you, it's not like you try to just get they crave their love and shit. You end up hating them too. I think. I don't know. For me,
Tell me
okay.
about your nemesis.
Okay, so I went to school. Well, okay, so we traveled. We moved a lot, so it happened every time I went to a new fucking place. I went to a new place. I always played as a cool person. Like I always acted cool, whether it was or not. You know, I'm just a fucking kid. I don't know anything. So acting cool, very to myself. Meeting people like like a prisoner meets people. You watch everybody. You don't say a whole lot about yourself. You just kind of ease into conversations, and you just end up trying to be cool, right? So
Right.
I would end up meeting the hot shit of the fucking school for that grade, and they would end up wanting to fight me or some shit because I was the new kid.
You were all looking cool and stuff.
Yeah,
and they were
because
like,
I was looking cool, and then that would be my nemesis, and then we would have trouble until I moved to the new school. And it just
Okay.
happened over and over, kept replaying.
Really?
Same fucking shit every
Same
goddamn
story.
time. Same story. Go to a town, try to be friends with everybody. The fucking badass of the grade would have a problem with me, and then we would end up having to fight and just stupid kid shit, man. It sucked. It sucked.
Yeah.
And they were always cooler than me. Like I was like, why do you want to like
yeah, what's
have
the
this
deal?
issue?
I'm
Yeah.
just trying to be over here doing my fucking thing.
And then people like kids that were in gangs, kids that were way cooler than me, kids that smoked cigarettes and knew about drinking and all kinds of shit always wanted to fuck with me.
Really?
Yeah, I just came
Maybe
off
just
like I was
trying to-
one of those kids, but I wasn't one of those kids.
Maybe it
I
was just because you were new, you know?
maybe.
Do you think it was just the new kid thing?
I had the new smell and fucking it draws
The
some
new
sharks.
smell. You didn't smell like them yet, and it was like,
Yeah,
what?
the
This
fucking
kid's
sharks,
weird.
man. Fucking sharks.
The blood was in the water.
Yeah, pretty much every fucking time. How about you?
Oh man, so I've had a couple. I've had a couple,
You look
and
like you have.
yeah, I got one right now.
Yeah.
No, I've had a couple. Like, so in primary school, there was this girl called Alison Lynette. Am I allowed to say her name?
Oh shit, that's
Her name was,
hardcore. I didn't.
that's hardcore. I'm gonna name her. I'm fucking name and shame. No, her
Here,
name was
I'm gonna
Alison Lynette.
let me put her Twitter info
See
there
if you
for
can find her on
everybody.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh god. Anyway, so this girl, like this is primary school, mind you, right? So this
Hold on,
girl,
pause
like,
one
for,
second. Women nemesis are the worst. Okay, go on.
oh, they will do some
Some
psychological
fucking
shit to
weird
you,
shit.
some
They're not gonna
crazy
fight you.
shit.
They're gonna fucking wear the same clothes as you and shit.
That, yeah, they're gonna make your day everyday hell. They're just in every way, right? Anyway, she was doing weird shit. She would get,
Fucking Newman.
we'd
It's
all
funny.
me and my friends would be sitting there in a circle. Like if I had friends that day, I wasn't a super well liked person. I wasn't as cool as you, babe. I couldn't do that act cool thing. I couldn't do it. I didn't have the genes to act cool. Anyway, so she'd come over
It
and
gets you beaten up. Go ahead.
she'd wait until I left to do something. Like maybe I'd go to the bathroom or I don't know. I'd like left, and I'd come back to my friends, and she'd like told them to run away. So then as soon as they saw me coming, they'd run away. And so there was that. Then she like
What did you think? Did you think
you're
I
allowed to
stunk or
laugh.
something? You're like, oh no, what I do? I
No, I knew
smell
exactly
bad.
what she did. I saw
Oh,
her do it. Like she would
oh.
talk to them and she'd be like, "How funny would this be if we did this?"
Mhm.
And then, they'd run away. But then she was physical too. She used to get like she was very popular with the boys. The boys were all crazy about her for some reason. And
Would
then
she
so
kiss
she
them
would
and
get.
stuff? What was up with
I
that?
don't
How did
know.
she
I
become
don't know
popular?
what she'd do. They all thought she was awesome. She was like really, um, she was really sporty and stuff like that. And like I don't know, they all thought she was really awesome. And so they were on her side too. And so they used to call me names and they'd like, um, push me and stuff. Like it was all about pushing. Like no one hit anyone in
Mhm.
primary school. It was all about pushing. So um, Jay said he keeps thinking about Seinfeld's Newman. Oh yeah, yeah. It was really mean. It was like horrible, but it got to the point where it was like, this is like, it got hardcore. Like I had to tell my parents after a while. I had to do the snitch
Mhm.
thing because it was like getting ridiculous.
Mhm.
So my parents actually went to the principal and everything about
Oh
her.
shit.
That's not a good idea. That's
Right.
a dumb
No shit.
idea. It doesn't work. It
Right.
doesn't work. Don't do that. It makes it
I know.
way
No shit.
worse. It makes it way worse. Don't do it.
It
Anyway,
escalates it.
it escalates it. Anyway, so I left that primary school like in grade 4, I think, and I went to a different primary school because my parents split up for a while. So I went to a different school that was near where my mum moved to, and that school was awesome. Then they got back together, living in the same place, and I went to high school where this fucking Alison Lynette went to high school. She was like the only one I knew.
Mhm.
Can you imagine starting brand new school? The only one you know is
Is
this
your
fucking
nemesis?
psycho, my nemesis. Oh my god! And she was like fully like I was just trying to ignore her at that point. Like I wasn't in her like class, and oh man, I was just like I gotta avoid her like the plague because she might still be crazy. And I could tell she had that.
She had the
She
crazy
had
eyes.
this, yeah, she had this crazy look in her eye when she saw me, and I'd be like, oh shit, I gotta go the other way. I was so terrified of this. I was so terrified of her. And she was like big, like she was like huge then. She was really built, And I'm like, she's scary. Like she would beat me up like bad. So I didn't want to be alone in the same place as her. Anyway,
So
um, I think it got
of
to year 9 or something that
mhm.
for some reason or another, we ended up having a chat. I don't know how we got in the same place at the same time and had a normal human chat,
Hmm.
but she was like, "Oh, you're okay. You're pretty cool." And I'm like, "Wow.
What?
What? What was in her head that like made her start this whole thing? Like I have no idea. Was it like she did it once? I think maybe she did it once And the reaction was, there was something she liked about the reaction. Maybe I got really upset or something. The first time she bullied me, maybe I got really upset. I don't know. I don't remember. And then it was like the reaction she got addicted to or something. What was it? Or maybe I just did something to her. Maybe I snubbed her. Maybe I don't know what I did to this girl.
Weird.
But we had this conversation, and then after that she was like, "Oh, you're okay. You're cool." And I have not to this day, I do not know what it was about, what all that drama was about.
So, of all the Spice Girls, which Spice Girl is she? That's the question. And then, which Spice Girl are you?
Mean Spice. Is there a Mean Spice? I don't know.
There's Scary Spice.
There's Scary.
And isn't there Spicy Spice?
She was scary. She was Spicy Spice. Yeah, it was weird. That whole thing was weird. Then I had another one. I have had 2 nemesis in my life.
No shit.
Because once you lose one, you should get another one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that one wasn't my nemesis anymore.
Upgrade.
She was like, I've told you about this one, right? So I went back to work after having my son, and like was I divorced then, I think? Yeah, I was divorced. Unfortunately, I was divorced with a young child. Interesting time in my life. All right. And then I started work, and so things were already hard for me. I started working just like 2 days a week, and it was at the same company that I'd worked with before before maternity leave and whatever. And I'd been working there for years, and they all really liked me, whatever. But there was a new person there that had taken my full-time job, and I was just basically assisting her. We started out as friends, right? And then she went on a holiday, and when she came back from a holiday, she said that I didn't act excited enough.
Excited enough for her holiday?
I wasn't excited enough that she was back from holiday. And she took me aside into a room at work to tell me this. And she was like, the friendship is over. But not only was the friendship over, but the the torture began, I guess. Like, so she was like, kind of, because she was there 5 days a week and I was only there 2, she was responsible for, like, she'd just tell me, oh, you can do these things and I'll do the rest, right? When you're not here, whatever. Jason's like, what the fuck? Yeah, it was weird. She actually told me this. It was because the friendship was over because I wasn't excited enough that she was back. And then, and she was an Adventist, right? And she was very...
Oh, she was a religious nut.
She was very religious. She was an Adventist. She was very girly, goody. Let's both do each other's nails, and I'm not like that. I'm not that person. I can't act all giddy and excited you're back from holiday and like it's just not me. I'm not going to do that. Like, you've been gone 2 weeks. It's not it's not the end of the world. Anyway, so she started to like go to the boss all the time. Like, Sarah hasn't done this, Sarah hasn't done that. Sarah's, like, she was trying to get me in trouble at work, like, all the time. And I was literally scared to like go to work because I was like, I don't know what's going to happen today, if I'm going to lose my job because of her. Yeah, I was really scared I was going to like get fired because of her, because of all the crap she was doing. Because it worked. Like, she was there more than I was. And anything that like she could have said, oh, Sarah was meant to do this, but she didn't. When really it was up to her to do it. You know what I mean? She could have said anything about, I gave this to Sarah to do and she didn't do it. That sounds like that Clive Owen Curb Your Enthusiasm episode.
Yep.
You weren't effusive, Sarah. I can't remember that one. What happens in it? Do you remember it, babe? I
sort of remember it, but not clear enough to actually speak about it.
Oh, man. I got to rewatch it. So I was like scared to go to work. And then here's me in this situation where I've got a small child. I'm, on my own, like living on my own with a mortgage, like kind of struggling. And she's trying to get me fired. And then her situation was, she was working full time. She was married. She was married to someone who was also working full time. She's like trying to get me fired.
Like, oh, shit, that's fucked up, man.
Yeah, it was really fucked up. It was really fucked up. And I do feel for people that are getting bullied at work, because that is not nice. That's
Not cool
really
at all.
not nice. Going to work feeling like, what is going to happen to me today? What's this shit going to be like?
Yeah, that's like the worst because you can't do anything about it. You just have to like write it out, and it just makes
Yeah,
work not even worth going.
yeah. I think I did go to HR and yeah, I went to HR and they were pretty good. So it wasn't quite the same as going in primary school, going to the principal.
Yeah, but like
HR departments work a little bit better.
women have such the bad rap when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like comedians talk about it, and like I think Chris Rock has like a famous bit where he's like, he talks about like his wife having, his wife at the time they got divorced, but his wife at the time having a nemesis, and you know that she would just come home and start like bitching about this other person. Like it's this thing that I think we don't take women seriously about how bad a female bully can be. You know, like a male bully in the male, it's like since it's a male dominated world, or it has been, you know, and we just think of bullies as a physical thing. Like at some point you're going to fight the bully, you might win or lose, and hopefully that'll be over, or they'll continue bullying you or whatever. We don't think about like the mental part of the bully thing and how long it lasts and how shitty they make life.
Yeah.
I can remember a friend of mine, she had a bully, I mean not a bully, nemesis. And that nemesis went so far as buying the exact same car she did. She went like she dressed like her. She went all out to fuck with this chick, and I was like, God damn, that's crazy. Yeah. Although being a guy, you kind of question, you're like, did she just buy the car because it was cheap? You know, you just like, why did she buy the same color? You know, you just makes you question. So it's like so gaslighty.
Yeah, it is gaslighting to do that.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a jealousy thing. Like I think that some of these nemesis relationships, it is a lot of it's rooted in a jealousy thing. Definitely.
I can see that.
Which is weird. Yeah, there are some odd people. Anyway, it has a happy ending because because
they died.
Boss...
Next story.
Oh my god. They didn't die. That's horrible.
It is horrible.
No, the boss, the big boss guy from Singapore came down and was like, he pulled me aside and he's like, you know, there's all this trouble with you, which is weird because you've been here 8 years and we've never had an issue with you. You've always been really good, and I want you to do this job for me because Catherine, I'm gonna name and shame again, Catherine Brown, didn't do this thing. Go and attack her. If you see her on the street, kick her in the shins. No, so I think that she didn't do this job that she was meant to do for like months. And he's like, can you just do it? And I did it like in 2 days. It was really easy. And then he's like, yeah, you're good. And she's not. And do you want to work full time again? And so I went back full time and she got sacked.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So it has a happy ending. I didn't have to put up with her anymore.
And she didn't die.
Torture.
Really happy.
She didn't die.
We just saved
She's doing
her
a thing.
Death. It's good.
Would I save her? Oh my god, that's such a good question. That's a good question. Yeah, of course I would if I could. Like, you're not going to let somebody die. There's the drowning thing. The drowning question's a bit of that's a questionable one, isn't it? Because they say that's a dangerous thing to try and save someone from drowning. If you might drown yourself.
You know, the effort. If somebody's on fire, the effort to go get water. I don't know, man. It's a lot of effort.
Just tell them, just drop and roll. All right.
Get up before you die. That was an old New Yorker joke that, like, when somebody walks around and they see somebody, you know, on the ground dying, that's all that a New Yorker will do. They'll just tell them, "Get up before you die." That's
and that's it.
That's how. Yeah, that's a tough New York way to live.
Yeah. Well, I'd say you didn't have a nemesis because you didn't know their first and last names, and so they couldn't have tortured you enough.
Oh, I told you. Okay, so like there's no point. He's in prison.
Oh,
okay, so the story is like, okay, so I came to school. Homeboy didn't like me. He acted like my friend, and then he beat me up, and then he kicked my ass again. Like, yeah, he kicked my ass like on the street. Like, he jumped me and some friends, and they came in like with pipes and just like it fucking sucked. That was all fucked up. That fight, I got my nose broke once, and then
oh no,
it really wasn't a fight on my end. We were fucked. But anyway, so.
Ouch.
The dude was in a gang, and he ended up going to prison for selling cocaine, and then he got out and sold cocaine again. Went back into prison. He got out this last time, and he had been drinking so much Pruno, you know, the toilet wine, in fucking prison that it fucked up his kidneys. And so,
Oh
like, he's
dear.
on dialysis and shit, and he got
Oh
fucked up
no.
selling coke again, and he got busted, and he's probably in
Oh.
prison for life. If he gets out, he's you know,
Is he
there's
gonna
not a
beat you
whole
up
lot.
again when he comes out?
No, the last time I saw him, he was in no shape to beat me up.
Okay.
He was in pretty bad shape. I mean, he was still muscular and shit, but I mean, he's still all fucked up. I mean, one kick to the kidney and he's fucked.
It's like that Ali Sadiq thing that we watched.
Oh yeah.
And he
Yeah,
just kept wanting to beat up that dude, and then he saw him in a walker, and he's like,
Okay,
"Don't
so
beat me up."
these guys were in a gang, right? And they had
Yeah.
one dude that had like a death wish. That kid, I say kid, he was about 13 years old, and this was like gangs were really bad. And what he did is he got a little 22 shell, put it inside of a straw, and was held the shell with pliers and was using hammers to hit the backside of these fucking shells and set off these bullets. Like, that's how crazy the dude was.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Into his mouth.
No. He would just like hit. No. He just had the
Oh, he just had a straw like that.
straw to try to aim it better.
Oh, I
Which
thought
made no
because
sense
you were
at
saying
all.
he had a death wish. I'm like, I
Well,
thought
he
you
had a
meant-
death. Who's gonna hit a bullet holding it with the goddamn with pliers with a hammer? That's how
An
crazy
idiot?
he was. Yeah,
He could just
fucking
be a
idiot.
real idiot. You don't have to have a
Yeah.
death wish for that. But
His name was Eli. The guy that went to prison is Cruz.
okay.
First name Cruz, not last name
Jace is
Cruz.
saying sounds like karma caught up with him.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, talking about bullets. Next door neighbor of mine, when we were little, I was probably 7 years old, and he was probably 8. And his dad had guns, and he had little 22 shells, and he was in this backyard, like hitting for some stupid ass reason, hitting it with a hammer. Right?
Oh dear.
It shot
At
him in
7?
the leg. I was 7. I think he was like 8. I don't know, something like
Okay.
that. Something really young, somewhere in the single digits, above 5 years old. He hits
Texas
it and
stories here, people.
he shoots himself in the leg by hitting the thing.
Oh no.
Yeah. So he had a bullet lodged in his fucking leg from doing
Oh
that.
really? They didn't get it taken out?
I assume they did at some point. I don't know, but
Oh
like
my
that
God.
was fucked up. Fucked up shit.
Yep.
Don't have bullets, don't have kids with bullets around and shit like that.
Yeah.
Of course, y'all don't have that problem, but here we do.
Yeah,
Got
that's a
stupid kids and
Texas
bullets.
thing.
Yeah, it's a Texas thing.
Ugh.
Yep.
Gosh.
Same
Anyway.
people. Okay, these kids were
Yeah.
dangerous.
Right.
Same kids that we were playing Jacques Cousteau. We were on top of his roof. We were kids, and you know how like when you dive, you know you kind of like you cover your nose and like you go backwards.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He did
Yeah.
that shit from one story up on a goddamn roof. Fell off and broke his arm for no reason. There was no reason to dive. like
Oh,
we're playing
God.
a game, it's pretend. And then
Yeah.
he thought it was funny to cover his nose
Oh,
and come
no.
back like he was a frogman or some shit. And boom,
Oh.
breaks his fucking arm.
Oh, well, at least he only broke his arm, I guess.
Yeah, we were all in trouble. Like we could have
Really?
stopped him.
Well, what?
Yeah,
I was about to say, what were you meant to do?
Yeah, we could stop the dude from playing
You
Jacques
shouldn't have
Cousteau and
friends
fucking-
that are idiots, I guess.
Have smarter
That's
friends.
what you
That's the
did.
fucking
Yeah,
thing.
have
Smarter
That's the
friends.
lesson. That's the lesson, babe. Oh boy.
Yeah, I've seen a lot. He didn't break his arm big enough so you could see like a bone sticking out or anything. I want to.
Oh, man.
I want to hear. If Jace can, I don't know if it's too much to type. If he had a nemesis and just a quick story.
Yeah,
If he
yeah.
can,
I want to know. I want to know
Yeah,
about this
totally.
nemesis.
He's
thing.
like, right now I'm stalking somebody and I'm their nemesis. So
Yeah.
we're like the
I
antagonist.
haven't had one. I've been one.
Yeah, I've been one. Oh,
No,
I
I'm
can-
really curious about the whole, like, why you would do it though. You know, like what
What?
What
Just
makes
the-
you want to like this? Okay, so take you know the ones that I had. This was like a daily occurrence that some shit was going down. Like, is this something that's like really fun? Is this like a fun thing to do? Like, you wake up in the morning, you're getting ready to go to school or work or whatever, and you're planning out what you're going to do to them today. And you're like,
Okay.
oh, I can't wait. I'm going to do all this shit to them today. I'm going to say this. I'm going to make them do that. And
I can only think of religious zealots in this way. And like, if you can kind of think of like, okay, so people try to do things they think that are in the best interest of a group. So, like, if you can imagine, okay, so this is like true story. And these are adults, which is stupid. This guy, a preacher, had a um, a rent house, right? And in his rent house, he had this lady living there, and for some reason, he got in his head that she was a fucking witch. And we're talking like 10 years ago. We're not talking like ancient times. We're talking
This is
he was
Texas again,
convinced.
another
Yeah,
Texas story.
Texas. He was convinced, or that was his story that she was a witch, and he was got her kicked out of his rent house so that he can remodel it and sell it.
Right.
So it's probably all made up or whatever in the fuck, but like that was his thing. He was going around telling people, she was a witch. He was bullying her at
Yeah.
and everybody, like all the old people that are dumb and shit, were all like, if they saw her, they would like snub her and whatnot because she
Yeah,
was a
she's a
witch. It was
witch.
fucking fucked up shit.
Oh wow.
So the meaning is that I think some people do things and they don't realize the effect that they're having. They think they're doing a greater good, you know. And then some people, of
Yeah.
course, know what they're doing, but there's a lot of people who think they're doing a greater good. They think that, like, this is a bad person, and I'm going to tell everybody that you're a bad person or you're a adulterer or fucking whatever you're fucking gonna do. And then the other people are just crazy. Well,
Yeah.
like in movies where you have like the bad guy thinks they're the good guy, shit.
Yeah.
That dynamic.
Yeah, I guess that would make sense. That would make sense. Like for them, what they're doing is the right thing,
Right, like
and you breathing is the wrong thing. Okay, Jay
right.
said, same bully crap. I was always a joker, and some dudes would get pissed because they weren't getting the attention. So just got a hard on for making life tough. Yeah, I think so. I think with Allison in primary school, I think it was a reaction thing. Like I think that she liked the reaction from me
Mm.
or whatever. Same in primary and high school. Usually tried to jump me when I was alone. Being able to run fast helped.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a good skill.
Okay, so another Texas problem is
Right.
raised to fight. Like always told, like it doesn't matter if you win or lose, you got to sit there and fight. Just stupid, fucking shit. Is
Really?
yeah,
That's what
just
you're taught as a kid
yeah,
over there?
yeah, definitely. Like,
Stand your
um,
ground.
yeah, stand your ground. If somebody bullies you, they're not going to stop bullying you until you fight back. Just like, just shit like that. Just stupid. If you fight, you try to win.
Oh, yeah,
Just
I had
stupid
that one.
shit.
I had that like whole, you know, don't show that you care. Just say something back to them. Tell them to fuck off and be all cool. And
And they
it
have the
doesn't work.
power to, they have fingers, which means if they got in a fight, they have the power to gouge your eyes out. Like, it's stupid to tell kids to sit there and fight when that other
Yeah.
person has the power to hurt you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. Like, the worst thing, like what I hate on Twitter is
Mm.
I get like there's violence on Twitter. I hate seeing people fighting because there's anything can go wrong. Someone could go and bounce their head on concrete just by being hit on the side of the head. You can
Yeah.
accidentally poke somebody's eye out. You can do all these kind of things. I hate seeing violence. I hate it. Absolutely hate seeing real violence. I love it in movies though. Movies, it's amazing. But real life
In
violence,
movies, it's amazing.
yeah.
Listening
I
to you.
hate seeing people fight. It fucking grosses me
It's
out.
really scary. Like I knew someone, who was in a fight and didn't like to fight, but this person picked on him, and so they got into a fight. They got into a scuffle, and he did hit the guy back, and then the guy hit his head funny, and that was it.
Mm,
But
damn.
this is like young kids in like high school or whatever,
Yeah.
and that was it. It's so
Yep.
stupid.
It's fucking
Just
stupid.
senseless. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I think running away is the best
Yeah,
option.
totally. Totally. If you can get away, run away.
I mean, of course, the psychological stuff you can't run away run away from that.
Bury it deep
Unfortunately.
inside. Run away mentally.
Yeah.
Run
Or
away
just
to your safe place.
and it's really that the whole job thing is really hard because it's not that easy to say. I'll just get another job, get another. That's not fucking easy to do.
That's not easy to do, but I would say that all the times in my life that I thought I should get another job, the moment that I thought it is when I should have got another job. Like in hindsight, there's never been like I'm always worried about losing a job or worried that this is going to happen or that's going to happen. But
Most worried about losing a job if he just turns his back for a moment.
yeah, all the time. And I realized that had I ever decided, hey, don't worry about it, just get another job, I would have been fine. I would have been 100% fine.
Yeah.
Because I didn't keep those jobs anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so Jace says revenge films, though, right? We love them, and I think some of it comes from seeing the bully get their comeuppance. Yeah,
that's
definitely.
True.
That's it. That's why we all love them, because we've all three of us have been bullied, and we've buried that shit deep inside, and we're like, they'll get there. It's gonna happen one day. They'll get their comeuppance.
I don't know if there's ever been a person who hasn't been bullied, because even like you've been bullied by your parents or whatever in the fuck. Like, there's a reason why those kids are bad.
The people that bullied us, they're the ones that didn't get bullied.
I know. I think they got bullied by their parents or their cousins or whatever the fuck. Yeah. I don't know. I think bullies are made, but I don't think they're born. But maybe. I don't know. I really don't know.
You're probably right.
Let's hope. Let's hope they were bullied.
Let's hope they were bullied. That's funny. I hope they were tortured.
No, they get sandwiched bullied. They get bullied when they start out their career as a bully, and then they get bullied at the end, so they get sandwiched bullied. They get you're the meat in the middle, and they get bread bullied.
Right. That makes sense. The bully sandwich. It makes perfect sense.
It does, 100%. Doesn't it?
Yeah. The bully sandwich.
All right, so I'm playing that video game.
Which one? The card thing?
Yeah, the Yi. Fuck. It's YAXAIN. So it's like, I can't fucking, I don't remember how to pronounce it. Because I had to look it up on how to pronounce it. Now I forgot.
Okay.
But anyway, no.
We should have talked about that at the start while you remember the pronunciation.
It's an auto battler mixed with sort of a Slay the Spire, okay? But the like auto battler part's cool. And so here's a couple of things that they have that is really cool. So auto battlers work like CorruptCity, where you're basically programming the cards, but the cards go off. But once the cards go off, you don't have agents. You can't do anything. It's all in the programming of the cards, okay? So it's just like our game.
It's not like that because you can still make choices.
Right, but that's the different part. But the programming part is, you go, you get these cards, you get them from different ages, and you can upgrade cards. The interesting thing they have is when you upgrade a card, it can only be upgraded by its same name like ours. But once it's upgraded, it's a different card. So you can't upgrade that card unless another card is upgraded. So both cards have to be of the same name and upgraded to the same level to put them together to get to the next level.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is fucking crazy.
But I bet the next level card's crazy though, right? It's really good.
It's pretty good. Oh. It is good, but that's the only way to do it. So it doesn't matter. It's how you get to the third level. If you want to get to third level, you can need two level cards put together. Okay. The other interesting thing is, the cards that you have and you sell back. The way we do it and other games do it is they sell it and you give money back for selling cards, right? For selling cards in that game, you get like fairy dust. It's I forgot what they call it, but they got a name for it, and it gives you this kind of dust. Enough of that dust, and you get to go to the next age, and that's how you get from the deck 1 to deck 2, is by selling enough cards. You also get that dust by upgrading cards. So you either upgrade or you sell, or you upgrade and sell, and you keep. I think it's called Destiny. You keep getting these Destiny points, and Destiny points takes you to the next age. The interesting part about the next age is that there's certain cards you're guaranteed to see. And I'm like, that's genius. Like, let's say you play, like, let's say
they're placed on top of the, like in physical, if it was a physical game, they'd be placed on top of the deck.
Yeah, that is the top card that comes into the deck. As soon as you go into the next stage, you get that card. You could build your whole strategy based on that card. And the other cards are sort of support cards, okay? That's the asymmetry too. You're picking a style, like let's say I'm going, I think it was like Storm or whatever, the storm card in this next level, this is one of the cards you're guaranteed to get. In the next level, you're guaranteed to this card. So you can build your whole deck based on those cards. And so that's the asymmetry. Yeah, it's really interesting. I was like, I don't know if it could be something to add to an expansion of Corrupt City, but it's an interesting idea to have a specific card already in mind so your strategy goes towards that as you're building your deck. I mean, you could build away from that because you also get other random cards, but you know you're getting that card.
You could do that in Mage Knight.
Yeah.
Mage Knight with the advanced actions.
Yeah, exactly.
You're getting that.
Yeah, I thought like, wow, that's a really cool thing. And the other thing that I thought would be really cool is they have something called Chase, right? Chase allows you to do the next card in line immediately.
What do you mean next card in line?
So if you were in P1, like you had P1, it would go to P2 automatically. Instead. Right, you would do P2 automatically, and then when it gets to P2, you're not doing anything in P2, but it allows you to jump ahead if you wanted to do a load move without the other person screwing you.
Oh.
Or invest move or whatever. You would have that chase which would allow you to jump. Or in their game, what they do is they make you go. It wouldn't be that you would skip P2. What it would be is that when you go to P2, I'm going to P3 because I already jumped ahead of you. Mm-hmm. You know, so at the end of the game, I'm doing 4 cards. Basically, in the first round, I did 2 cards, and the rest I did 1. So in your P5, you have a card. In P5, I have an empty slot because I've already done it. I'm 1 P in front of you.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. I was like, it would be really cool to have a bonus tile that would allow you to jump 1 ahead, which allows you to not get screwed a couple of times, but then also means that P5 is empty.
But then you can't get screwed.
Yeah, but you have P5
I like
empty,
the screwage.
So you could a person can program for it. Like in P5, they could decide, hey, in P5 he's not going to be doing anything because he'll probably chase, and then I'll do this other thing.
Might be interesting.
I'm not saying we should do it. It might be expansion material. It made me look at the programming thing not as static and really like there's some interesting things. That's one of the reasons why I want to play the game. Because it's an auto battler and it introduces new ideas in the auto battler scene.
Yeah, and also we could have one of those construction things that do this, or like
give everybody the chase.
Everyone chase, or
chase
everyone all of a sudden like has to go backwards.
Right,
Their programming order goes backwards or something.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
My eyes lit up. What did they light up? Which part? Which part? Oh, I don't know. Or I don't know what my eyes lit up over, but
it's probably by awesomeness. That's what did it.
Your awesomeness, like, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I like that idea. I don't know. I think that there's a lot of legs with that whole programming thing. Like, I think we could even do another game with a different. Totally different game with it.
This whole auto battler thing has introduced some really interesting mechanics that are like it's a whole new space.
It is a whole new space, but to me it's not like Corrupt City is not auto. It's not an auto battler anymore because you really are making.
It's just programming.
Yeah, and you're making interesting tactical choices when the program's going off. It's not you're not just sitting back and going, this is how I've got to do it now. And if you don't want to do something, you don't have to. That's the other thing with auto battlers, right?
Right, it's going to do it.
It's going to do it. It's just going to run the thing. So whether you like it or not.
Yeah, it's like crack to me though right now. Like I'm so into that game now. Like I sat back thinking, I played like shit. Jay saw me play like fucking shit. I sucked. And then I was sitting back thinking about it, and then I came up with a couple of things, and I started to understand it after I sat down and thought about it. It's like, oh, okay, I get it. That makes sense. This is what I did wrong, and I'm not saying I'll be any better. It gave me ideas.
You're almost making me want to play it.
You should.
But I'm way too into Elden Ring now. I'm lost in Elden Ring.
No,
I hope that, you know how you said you were going to like pass me? I hope that you do, because then I can figure out where the hell to go.
Okay.
So when I am in Melbourne, you can pass me and then help me.
I think, okay, so just put it on the Steam Deck is what I would say. Like, buy the game, put it on the Steam Deck, or play another auto battler, put it on the Steam Deck and just play. If you got 15 minutes just sticking around, or if you're waiting for something to go on, and you're just sticking around on the Steam Deck, right?
Yeah.
Because since it has the auto battler system semi stolen from it, it might trigger new ideas that are in the auto battler side, because that's the interesting side. The other side is cool and it's very board gamey, but the newest stuff is going to be on the auto battler side, because that isn't something in board games.
All right, say what the game is again.
It's XIA. No, YIXIAN, I think.
YIXIAN.
I believe so. Let me look. I can tell you soon.
Oh yeah, yeah, that is it.
Okay, cool.
Zane. I don't know how to say it. The cultivation card game.
Yeah, that's the one. I think Jason's gonna get it at 11. It's only $11.
11 AUD. That's a bargain. Okay, I will get it too then.
I mean, at least just to play with the ideas. It might spark something, and I imagine we'll use the auto battler system in other stuff in the future.
Yeah,
it's
fun. It's just fun.
Oh, I saw this other game. Okay, so it's another cheesy card game, right? But it had a genius system for how to do the action selection. All it was you get a bag and you get 6 beads, and they could be white or black. So, and some of the characters, you're going to have like 1 black bead, and you randomly, and they put them along this line, right? And you have your cards that have patterns on them. So can you make the patterns? And when you make the patterns, they come off of the thing, and they have to be from left to right. You can't like change the pattern. So I drew these beads. I put them in a line. Let's say it was white, white, black, white, white. Well, then I draw a card that says black, white with black on the left, and I have another card with black on the right. So I got to decide which one to use. Do I use the one with the black on the right, or do I use the one with the black on the left? When I use it, it'll come off of the line, and then I have the things that are left, and it might screw it up where I can't use any of my other cards. So it's this really genius thing where it's just these dots on a line, and some characters are 3 and 3. So you got 3 black, 3 white. There's various patterns it can make. Your cards have the patterns on the bottom, and you have to decide which cards you're going to set off based on the pattern that you have available. And then
how do you change it though? How do you change the pattern?
Every round you're gonna for the round you'll draw the pattern, and you have your cards, and you decide which order you're gonna play them in, and then the next round you draw the next pattern, and that determines what cards you're gonna play with. And then when you get to the next level, you might be able to add beads to your bag, so you can change the patterns, and like it'd be more white or more black, and then you can buy cards that lean that way, and then also you're gonna get more spaces in your row to lay these beads. It probably doesn't sound like much. You'll probably have to see it in action, but as an action selection thing, it's pure genius.
That's interesting. It sounds cool. It reminds me a little bit of Orleans, I guess, because then you're drawing.
Show me, or tell me. I haven't played it
so
before.
Orleans, you have a player board, and it's got like all the different actions on there, and you need to place, your different people. Like you've got these little round tokens that got different people on it. They've got farmers and monks and whatever, knights, blah blah blah. So if you're adding to, like, if you want to, set your wagon off somewhere and go to a different place on the board, then you need a knight, because he's obviously got to guard the thing, and then you need like I don't know, whatever. You need 3 dudes. Anyway, so what you do is you pull out your chips, your people from your bag, and then they're the ones you have to work with, and then you place them on the actions that you want to do. But you can't do the actions that you can't, like if you don't have the people for it, you can't do those ones.
Right. Similar. Right. So imagine if you were playing like an Asian themed game, and let's say you were doing specifically a Chinese game.
That's very high level there. It's an Asian themed game. Yeah,
you're doing Asian themed game, you're doing Chinese, you're doing, let's say, Bronze Age type stuff, or maybe somewhere around that time. And you're drawing these pieces which look like Go pieces. You're laying them out. You're basically, the actions you can take are based on these patterns, whatever. So I think simple genius. Absolutely. I'm not going to say elegant because I hate that fucking word, but simple genius. As it pertains to board games, I hate fucking, I hate that. I fucking hate it. But anyway.
Like, why not just play it safe? Well, like we talked about this the other day, and I think that we didn't talk about it on here, did we?
I
Now
doubt
I'm
it.
getting confused. What did we talk about on the phone, and what did we talk about
What's
here?
in real life?
Yeah, what was in real life? But like, I can understand where you're coming from because what happens is people. There's a new buzzword right now is wheelhouse, right? Everyone says that, and when I was doing my review today, I almost said it, and I was
Mm.
like, no, I'm not going to say it. I refuse to say it because it becomes this thing where like everyone says,
Like when they say grok and shit, you know? I hate
yeah,
that.
it's another one. But
Well,
elegant for sure. Elegant has that other thing of like, do people actually know what they're saying when they say this? Like at least people are using the wheelhouse thing in the right context, and you can't really get that wrong. But I
right.
think when people are describing a game as elegant, they really don't know
They're
what
not using it properly.
they're
They're using
saying.
it for something. They're using it in a what did I say, engineering term instead of
Yeah,
a design term.
right.
Like as engineering, if you said elegant, you mean easy,
Yeah,
simple. But
yeah,
usually, when you usually said elegant, you're talking design, which means
right.
your house is elegant, which is the opposite
Engineering,
of
you
what we
mean?
mean. Well, no, if I
Yeah,
said your house is elegant, I meant it has a bunch of fucking decorations and shit,
yeah,
which is the opposite of the board game version.
right.
But okay, so yeah, so this brings me to complex for complexity's sake. I have a friend. Okay, so some of my friends think that our friend German Mike came up with that saying. I don't know if he coined it. I don't know if it was just like on the tip of everybody's tongue, but it's one of the things he has said
Mm.
is complex for complexity's sake.
A lot
There's
of
a
people say that
real
too.
danger with saying that. And the
Mm.
reason why is because you're basically discounting a game's design. I would say if you're going to
Yeah,
say,
you are. You're like saying this designer
right,
has put shit in there that he didn't, that shouldn't be in there, right? You're picking on
it's
his design. You're saying that they've over designed it. They've purposely put shit in this game to
right,
make it
just to make
hard.
it sound like it's hard, and it's
Yeah.
not that hard. So I would say that it's too easy just to say that because you don't understand the game. Like
Mm.
maybe there are games like that, and I'm not saying there isn't, but it's not for every game. Like people will say that about a game that Vital made just because Vital made it. They say I don't like games that are made for complexity's sake. It's like that's not fair. You're
Yeah.
putting a death knell in a game just because you don't like that it's complex. It's one
Yeah.
thing to be complex. It's another to be complex for complexity's sake. I don't think
I
it's
think I think it's
fair to say
possible
that.
to I think it's possible and it's probably fair to say that you feel that a game, like you're playing a game and you feel that it's more complex than it needs to be.
Right, right. But okay, so let's say you feel that. I'm okay if you play the game and you feel that and you say, I think it's complex for complexity's sake. But if you automatically say that without playing it, or if you just say that because you don't like complex games, it's not fair.
Yeah.
It's like people don't understand how mean it is to say that a game is broken. Like sometimes people just say a game is broken without understanding what that really means and what it
Yeah.
does for the longevity of the game. Like if
Yeah.
our game group thinks a game is broken because one of us jackasses said it's broken, and the
Right.
truth is it could be worked around and it's not broken, we just happen to
Yeah.
play it a weird way. It can mean that we don't buy that game, and everybody we tell that game is broken, they might not
Mm.
buy that game. They're going to believe us. It's not fair to the game.
Yeah.
I think we should really watch out with those things that would be death knells to a game. It's okay to say you don't like the game. It's okay to say that I think that the game might
Yeah.
be flawed
The
in this way,
game
but I'm
is
not
too
sure.
complex for me is fine. You're allowed to say that. But
Yeah,
like, yeah, if you say it about a Vital game, for example, it's bizarre because he's like, the amount of like he's working on that stuff. Oh my god, like he doesn't stop. I think he just wakes up his design,
yeah. In
playing
fact,
his games all day long, multiple play tests a day, and they're like 5 hours long. Like that guy, everything he does in the game, he's designed on purpose. Like
right.
it's
So
there
like
for a
you
reason.
take someone who has a podcast, or you take Jim, who on his last podcast said he didn't want to play Weather Machine because it's complex for complexity's sake. I took real offense to that. I'm like,
Yeah,
dude, just because you want to play a simple game isn't fair, especially as a media person, to say a game is complex for complexity's sake. That's not fair. That's not. It doesn't do the hobby any good at all. If you're really trying to do something good, that's not it. That
yeah,
is that's putting barriers between games and people. If you're gonna put barriers, put the right barriers in place.
Yeah, Moe's 4 barriers, just
Not that barrier.
Particular one.
Anyway, okay, so next week we're not going to have a talk. So this is kind of this is a bonus talk, or this is the
bonus
replacement talk, or whatever. Is
Yeah.
there anything else you want to throw in, or are we going long? What do you think?
No, I think I've pretty much said everything I wanted to say. We've talked for an hour and a half.
Oh, okay. Did we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we did. Cool. Thank you, Jace, for showing up.
Yeah, thanks,
Anyone
Jace.
else who didn't show up, you suck.
We're
gonna bully you.
You turned up later and watched it, and you're listening, but you suck.
Yeah, we're gonna bully you now. We're gonna bully you. We're gonna come to where you work. And say
You weren't excited enough. You weren't excited enough about us to watch it live. Then that's it. You've made an enemy.
But please subscribe, and we'll be cool with you, and watch our next one, and we'll be nice. That's how you can change this dynamic of us bullying you. And if you happen to be one of those people that Sarah spoke about directly, eat shit. I'm joking. Don't eat shit. Please don't eat shit. You might get sick. Sorry.
That would be creepy though if they were watching. Imagine that.
Watch you. They watch you like crazy.
Yeah, they're in their basement. They've got they've got all these photos of me and shit on the wall and around their monitor, and I've got like my eyes. My eyes are like scraped out with a knife and stuff.
You know how we say we're like I'll say I'm obsessed with you, or you'll say you're obsessed with me. These people go further than we do. Like I've got as many pictures of that I have of you in my phone. They've got 3 times as many. But they're candid pictures. They're just like you walking.
Ones I don't know about.
They just see you walking. It looks like you're fucking like that old film footage of Sasquatch and shit. You just looking back.
Can't believe you just compared me to Sasquatch.
Well, the photos.
Wow.
The recording.
Yeah, you're not backpedaling out of that one. Wow. You all heard it.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
That is right.
Okay, let's leave it on that note.
From now on, you just see me in this thing alone. Just me.
The end.
The end. This was the end of an era.
The breakup live.
Yeah, that was the breakup. And you heard it live. Okay, subscribe or something, or follow or do something. Catch you later.
Do something. Bye.